All right, I think we're good to go then. And I'm sorry, just what rank is this again? Like Diamond 3? Champ 1?
This is champ. This is champ 1, yeah.
Okay. To be honest with you, I think your diagonal flip. All right, let me see here. I noticed that like your diagonal flip, you're really only going. I think your flip is very forward, if anything.
Mhm.
I think your diagonal flip could probably look a little bit more something like this. Your as far as your angle goes. I think that might help because I find that like a lot of people
Yeah, I
tend.
struggle with speed flips. I just found
Yeah.
out today. Somebody told me about a plugin to help like find the angle like
Oh,
that I
sure.
was using. So, and I can
Gotcha.
only really speed flip to the right at the moment, and even then, it's not consistent.
Gotcha. Okay.
I,
Because
I
yeah,
could
you
show
can
you my
see.
speed flip, and you could probably identify what I'm doing wrong. But
Yeah, but you can obviously
getting the
see
angle
like
is
the flip
difficult.
inconsistency. You're way too far off to the right here. Um,
Yeah.
Obviously, ideally, if you do land on the right side of the ball, you would ideally want to hit this like right here on the middle side of the ball and then flip left. That way, this
Hmm.
allows you to not only hit the middle of the ball, but you also get the maximum amount of coverage behind the ball. And
Yeah.
then when you flip, you're also going to push it in the same direction that your car is going. So
Okay.
I'm glad that you side flipped there and you got his boost. That's good.
I think this is, for whatever reason, I was like, okay, I'll take it back to my corner.
Actually, yeah, not a bad thought since he's sitting in net. It also draws him out too because at this point he doesn't
Hmm.
have any boost.
That,
So,
that's really, I
yep,
think that's one of the things I marked the keyframe
yep.
on.
So one of the things here though is that you're going at an angle towards the wall. So by the time this rolls out, you're kind of keeping it along the corner here, right? So it's a little awkward for you to then turn around and hit the ball back around, but
Hmm.
or bring it around safely, across field, right? And that's why he's able to actually challenge here along this corner right here. Um, I think if you actually keep the ball going where my line is right here on the middle of the ball or in the middle of the
Hmm.
on the field here, you can actually pick up this boost pad, pick up this one, and then by the time it rolls up, it'll roll up right here on the 45-degree corner. Then at that point, you can either let it drop and take it out, or you can actually cut it off early and bring it back around this way. But it'll be much easier to read because it'll be on the ground a lot longer. The second it gets
Right.
on the wall and on the corner, then you're like, okay, is it falling? Is it going back up? What's going to happen here? Whereas if you just keep it rolling on the ground, then all you know is, okay, it's going to roll up once and go back down. It's just much easier to read. Then your next priority is just taking that corner boost as well, because now that you've baited him out, in order to keep this as a clean possession play, you really want to force him to back off. There you go. Glad you got that. Recovery's a little iffy, but yeah, honestly, I think it just comes down to keeping ball possession, and the second you put it on that corner over here on the left, then that's where he's able to kind of take it.
Right.
Yeah, air roll choice is a little iffy as far as getting your nose down to the ground for the recovery. Ooh, okay. So I'm going to talk about the defense here for a minute. I'm going to actually back up and I'll go into fly view. I'm going to go kind of from his perspective here. Okay. So this is a good spot, actually. So you have to think about anytime there is a guy shooting on your net or bringing it to your side of the field, you have to think about there being a line between the ball and the goal at any given point. And so since this
Hmm.
ball is rotating or coming to your net on the right side, you're also shadowing on the right side, right? And the idea is
Right.
that at any point you can turn around and make an early challenge, right? It can be here, it could be here whenever, right? Or it could be parallel on the goal line if you go for like a goal line save, right? The idea, though, is that you would basically only cross this line when you're going for a challenge. The exception here is that say it's like way back here, right? And you go and you wanted to close in the distance and wait for him to make a move. You can actually go cross this line, then go back around. But in both scenarios, you would be going parallel with the goal, where in this case, you'd be going back around like this.
You're right.
So in both these scenarios, you're only really crossing this line when you need to and when you're going for that ball. And in both these scenarios, you keep the whole net in front of you. It just gets rid of a whole lot of processing in the background that your brain doesn't have to worry about. Especially so if this is going down the midfield, then if you're shadowing and you come right in line with this goal, with this line, then if he shoots top left or top right, it's going to be a lot harder for you to read, because as he goes left or goes right, your camera is actually going to be facing backwards, right? So your left and right controls are going to be reversed. And it's a whole lot harder to get up into the corners from the middle of the field here than it is to just go straight and you have momentum going in that direction.
Yeah, I think I've tried to do that before.
Yeah, so
like keep that in mind.
honestly, yeah, so I like your idea overall of going wide, right? And then kind of swiping at it.
Yeah. I
But
just think I
look
went
how,
too wide.
yeah, you're
Yeah.
basically pushing into the corner here. Well, you're not guarding, like the post isn't here, right? Yeah, you're just way too far over. I mean,
Yeah.
you're literally almost half the field length width away from the goal. So I like your attempt here. I just wanted to bring up the defensive sort of lining there, because yeah, now you're literally on the corner on the wall, and he's shooting into your net, and that guy literally had the whole net open, and still couldn't score it.
Right.
So you kind of drew the lottery on that, but I'm sure we'll come in back into that positioning. I'll kind of point it out again as it comes up. But that's a common one I see, and I always talk about in all of my coaching sessions.
Right. I think I'd heard you talk about that before with somebody else, and I think that's when I tried to start envisioning that line.
Yeah, for sure.
But I got too far away for sure.
Yeah, so okay, so here, this is a point where you see that Dilly has just committed and he's kind of just flopping around. I think you kind of go back too far here. The second you see him going, this is kind of a reaction thing where you're able to just go quicker. So
Right.
notice how like you don't turn really quickly here. Look at how far back you go.
So I probably, I'm just guessing, I probably didn't notice, like when it was happening, like
Sure.
to recognize that opportunity. So I
Yeah, and
probably
I
just
think
didn't
that
even
might,
see it until
yeah,
it was too
right.
late.
And that might come from, as you're going for this boost pad, just focusing on Dilly instead of anything else. Because once you're on this pathing to the ball, you know you're going straight, right? So just be like, okay, I'm gonna get boost. Let me see what he's gonna do for a second, right? It's about gathering that information before you get the boost and before before the scenario happens, so that you can make a better play on it, in the
Right.
future.
Makes sense.
Because yeah, now that distance that you backed up, now he's able to get behind the ball, whereas you with 100 boost could have just shot this on net potentially, or even caught it ahead of him. But now you gave him the opportunity to drop back. I like that you're stealing his boost. There you go.
I think
I think
I hit it too far to the right personally. Like I probably should have hit it more straight.
I think so.
But
As
probably
well.
set up a 2-touch.
Yeah, instead of doing something like this where it kind of bounces out, I think you're already keeping this position, so you should be bouncing it. You should be able to grab this bad and turn around. So the bounce should be closer to here, like in between these two lines. That way it's out center for you. Then you can just
I saw
go.
that too when I was watching this replay back.
Yep. Awesome. Ooh, okay. Again, I think I like your idea, because now you're crossing this line, but you have enough time to go back and go parallel with the goal again. I think it's the same scenario again now, twice. Look you're literally on the corner right here, but the goal is way over here.
Right.
It's the same scenario, just twice. Because yeah, now, again, he had a free net.
Right. So I'm just going too wide. So the idea of where to go is right, but I'm going too far.
All right.
I don't think I got the cancel.
So, all right. So I like your positioning. So far, generally speaking, you want to flip, like somewhere right here, right? The idea is that you'd land somewhere around this half circle, this inner circle for the ball. Then that way you have this little bit of time to adjust to your opponent. But again, you want to be hitting like the middle of the ball here. And I
Yeah.
think the problem here is that you don't jump, even though you land back here, by the time you jump, you're hitting like the underside of the ball right here. You jump too late. You should be jumping a little bit back here so that way you can hit the middle of the ball.
Gotcha.
And we'll see that here in a second. Because see how he's just that ever so slightly just higher than you?
Higher,
He
yeah. He
kind of
jumped
did
a
this.
little early.
He did. And so he's
Earlier than I did.
Yeah, and it's very slight, and it's, he kind of did the same thing. I think both of you guys jumped too light, because now look at, you guys are both underneath the ball, and you're more likely to pinch it in that scenario when you guys jump late. So,
Gotcha.
yep. Okay, in this scenario, again, it's talking about, I like to talk about that information gathering, right? This would be a scenario where as you're dropping back, you just use your reverse cam, or in this case, yeah, just use your reverse cam right now and see, okay, is he there? Is he going for a demo? Is he pushing up? Is he rotating out this way, getting ready for a save? Something like that. That way if you have enough time to, A, grab the boost, turn around, and then go make a play on the ball, right? Or can I catch it? Do I have enough time to grab the boost and the ball and go out? Do I have to dodge, a demo, right? You have no idea at this point. So it's much harder for you to make a good decision in this case because you don't have enough information to work off of.
Right. I've never been good at looking at my backup camera
because of that.
Like, do you how do you keep I guess how do you train yourself to look at the backup camera more? Because I rarely do.
Honestly,
or do you just make conscious effort?
Yeah, I find that it helps when I'm in a straight line. So in this case, I know he's behind me. The ball is in front of me. I just want to look behind me. It's easier to click your camera. Do you use keyboard and mouse or controller?
Controller.
Okay, so yeah, it's easier for me to click the stick. I actually have my, I suppose you can't really see it, but like my sensitivity is at 10. It's all maxed out. So like when I'm using my right stick, it actually flicks this camera on really
you
fast.
Use 10?
Yeah, it's fast. Yep.
For
my camera sensitivity or whatever the hell it's called. It's max camera speed, whatever it's called, right? So when I use my right stick to look around when I use my right stick to look around the field, it's really quick. So I tend to just use like flicking motions when I'm using it. That way it's really fast. But in this case, again, I often use my reverse cam because it's easier to click in when I know he's behind me and then the ball is literally ahead of me. So in that case, you don't have to worry about using your stick whatsoever. It's just clicking it in.
That's a swivel speed?
Swivel speed, yes it is. That's the name, yep.
Okay, mine's like 5.6.
Gotcha. Ooh. So this is a thing you'll see in 2s a lot and in 3s is people reacting to plays before they happen, right? And it's a really bad habit because if he pinches this out straight off the wall, you're kind of expecting like the play to go center. Or in this case, like even if you do react and turn back, if he doesn't get a pinch and it drops, then you have like way too much distance, between you guys. Then he's got space. So in both scenarios, like try to just, you have 100 boost. The only way this is threatening is if he literally cooks or pinches this straight into your net, which is not going to happen. So in this case, you have the opportunity, especially when he's like high up in the air like this, to just wait and see what's going to happen. So in this point, I would just literally stop dead in your tracks and just sit here and wait. Not saying you have to stop dead, but like literally just like slow down and
I get what you're
creep up.
saying.
Yeah. And then see what's going to happen. Then, yeah, if it pinches out, okay, then you can go back. That'd be option 1. If it kills and goes down center, then you're still in a good spot. Then you go up. That's option 2, right? If he pinches it out or if he hits it hard off the wall as a bounce, then it's center for you. 3. Again, you're in a good position. So your option coverage here is really good. Whereas if you go center, well, now you're only covering option 3. And if you drop back, you're only covering option 1. So it's better just based off of statistics just to sit here and wait and see what he's going to do rather than eliminating all the other possibilities and only going for number 3 super early. So it's not always a bad thing to like let your opponent hit the ball and see what he's going to do, because then it'll be much easier for her to read, and then you'll know, okay, hey, it's not actually going center or whatever's happening here, right? Because yeah, now like you're not even aiming towards the play and you're just kind of freaking yourself out. It's like, dude, the play hasn't even developed yet. He still hasn't hit the ball yet, and you're kind of going way ahead of the play. The play is developing much faster in your head than it is actually developing.
Right.
Okay. To be honest with you, I think this would be a good scenario where, again, the play is going up like this, right? So for you to turn around and you're going super fast, you're actually cutting ahead of the ball, right? So now for you to go back, and you almost have to go back and like wait or go backwards for the play to catch up to you. This is kind of the same thing, just not as, it's a little more subtle here. The play is not going very fast, and it's not going at your net. So you don't need to worry about anything in this spot right here. This would be a scenario where you're actually shadowing in the corner pretty well. So you can actually afford in this scenario to slow down and match his pace. Because I think by the time you turn around, you're right here, and then he's bringing the ball right here, and you kind of have to like turn around and kind of wait for the ball to come to you, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, see, because now you're aiming towards the net, you're expecting something huge to happen, and you're like, oh shit, the ball's not actually coming to me. And it's like, okay, well, can I turn around and go for it? Can I turn around and go out mid? And
Yeah,
then
try to jump and fail.
Yeah, you're in a super awkward spot, right? And that's all because you were going way too quickly back to the net. You're not matching the pace of the play. It's literally the same thing that happened here. It's just more subtle, but it makes it, dude.
Right.
Even this looks awkward to me. I can tell it's awkward for you in this scenario, right?
I was just, like I said, instead of I'm rushing the play, like
Yeah.
it's going fast. So I just need to slow down and watch and see what happens.
Yep. In this scenario, this is still scoreable. You're jumping here, but because you don't tilt your car back to meet like the front of your car with the front of the ball. You actually let the car roll around with the backside of your car and hit it with the backside of your car. But that's the difference between letting him get it and not. Because this is still 100% scoreable. To be honest with you, you should be able to like air roll and hit this with like the front left of your car and hit the middle of the ball, and this should just be no problem a shot in, right? And actually, since the ball is going this way, you may not even need to do that. You should just be able to hit this with the front of your car. So I think you're kind of rushing yourself, and if you hit this with the front of your car, this should be an open net. But because you let it hit the spoiler, he's able to get back.
He thought me no better than the Derringers.
That makes sense.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, you're just going too fast. That's twice now because you missed that mid boost, but you missed it also before when you were dropping back in another play earlier. Ooh, there you go. I don't mind the bump attempt or demo attempt. It's really good.
I tried to demo him.
Okay, this is a good scenario. You're kind of hesitating here, though. You're turning off of it or going center at least. I think if you just keep going, you can still pressure a play and be there quicker. But then if he jumps and you're not confident to go for it, you can still turn around.
Right.
Because you're not committing. Whereas if you kind of go like this, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot. Because then now you give him more distance and more opportunity to go for it. And your cut to the ball is now way longer, right? This distance is more.
I thought it was going to be similar to that. The first one where like I hit it too far forward again, like it should have been more like out, or maybe even not the hit was bad, but like instead of me like following up to the wall, like be more prepared for a second touch come mid, just knowing that it was going to come out far enough for me to basically shoot a lot sooner.
Yeah. Okay. So there's two things also about this, right? Is that as he's pushing this, your first priority should be to like block the net, right? To not get scored on. So
yeah.
I don't mind you kind of coming across this ball and like blocking the net this way, but you're really stiff in the sense that you kind of are aiming like this, and you use your flip to just give you a little bit more rightward momentum, but you're still going like this way, right? And you'll see that kind of as you go across the ball. You're not ever aiming the nose of your ball or the nose of your car, at the ball, right? You literally just fly by the side of it the whole time. So if you look, the nose of your car only ever is facing the play after you jump. So now by the time you commit, you're really not even going towards the ball anymore. You're kind of going like this. And that's what happens here. Whereas you should have been going towards the ball when you take off here. So instead of aiming to the right, you should now turn around and aim towards the ball and then jump here. Then your first priority is just go upwards and meet the height of the ball. So I'm going to watch that back again real quick. To me, this just looks super stiff, in my opinion. Because now, yeah, okay, you're still in a good spot, but you're not aiming towards the ball here. Because now by the time you jump, you're committing to a play. And again, that was bad. He should have gotten a goal again. Whew, nice shot from him, actually. Okay, so similar to a kickoff, right? If you want to cover like the net that's back here, you're not really covering like the left distance here. So your other option is to also cover the height. So to make sure that since this ball is going upwards, that it can't get like over you, right? So that's your two priorities right now, is to cover like left and above. But when you jump for this, you actually jump here, but your height is only like this much because you jump, and you're actually keeping this this like plank like state, right? You're not using the nose of your car to like aim upwards towards the play. So I'm gonna talk about that in a drill. It's a little hard for me to describe, but notice how when you're jumping for this, you're not even anywhere near the ball. The nose of your car is not pointed up whatsoever. You're not gaining any height. You're not blocking anything as far as height goes. And that's a common thing I see a lot of lower ranked players do, to be honest with you.
It took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Certainly have tried to take a few hours.
Ooh. Similar to like your recovery back on the like back in this corner over here. I found that like you're aiming your nose like really super awkward. You notice that during this this encounter right here? Look at now you're aiming upwards. Like now effectively you're killing your recovery here. If I could say a better way to do this is you're already aiming towards the ground, so you don't really need to correct a whole lot here.
Is that all?
Like if anything, you could stop here, like tilt your stick down to tilt your car back a little bit, but I think it's just an overcorrection, right? Because now you're aiming upwards.
Right.
So whereas you were already facing the ground beforehand. So if anything, I'd say a high level move would be to drive downwards, jump here, use your boost to like jump off the ground, then wave dash here, then you get your forward momentum that way. Right? That would be like the high level play. Because that way you get down to the ground quicker than you use your wave dash to propel yourself forwards this way. And then effectively, if you can get your 12 here, you still might be able to barrel roll this straight into the net with like the left side of your car. So I'm not sure how confident you might be in doing like something like that, but I think this is still savable. It's debatable if you're still able to score off of it or not, but I think it's still more efficient that way. To be honest with you, there's not really like an immediate threat here. You're actually in a really good spot to catch this, believe it or not. Your height is perfect here because you're actually going to hit this with like the top of your car, but like the right corner of your hitbox, right? Which will effectively hit this downwards, where you can actually just turn to the right and follow this. So he's not magically going to go from the corner and then like challenge you and score this as much as you think. As long as you're able to kind of stay with the ball as you bring it down. So I think you flipping here and you jumping is actually committing to this play because now you're just hitting it out and you're just kind of pushing the ball away from you. Whereas you're not keeping possession whatsoever. Yeah, now he's able to kind of get around the ball and beat you. And he almost scores off of that. Like, had he taken his time, he could have scored off of this. Because now that time that you jumped, now you again have to recover off the wall again, which we've already talked about has not been the best. Ooh, nice. You got the bump. I like, I will say, I'll give you points where you deserve them. I like your challenges a lot of the time in his far area where you're not jumping here a lot. I would expect you, honestly, I would expect a lot of people here to like jump and flip into it, expecting that they can like somehow magically get a goal. So I will say that's one thing that you're doing really well so far is like your drive challenges. There you go. Bring it back to your side. Okay. Believe it or not, this is actually something you shouldn't really rush. You should kind of treat this like a 50-50 and again, let him come to the ball. Because now the fact that you are rushing the play, you hit it first, you're actually you're creating what I like to call like a handshake, where you effectively just hit it into him and then he hits it back. Right?
Right.
Whereas a safer play would be to slow down, then get your distance and match this so that by the time he comes around, this is actually a 50-50.
Right.
So that's where you're like, oh, I can't keep with these clean possession plays. I'm bringing it back
Right.
to my net, but like, or back to my side, but you're not really keeping possession here. You're literally just hitting it into him for him to hit it out past you.
Right.
So I think that's your problem here. And you can see that's really what happens. And again, that almost went in your net. I like the half flip attempt. There you go. Good challenge.
One thing about the half flips is like I can do them probably like 10 out of 10 times in training, but then like still mess it up in game.
Right. Okay. Again, it's very subtle. I'm going to be very nitpicky about your positioning here, but again, you're turning around and going up the wall, preparing for like some kind of massive clear. But this is not in any net. Like it's the same thing. You're turning around and you're going on this wall, whereas you haven't seen the play develop that way yet. So if anything, I'd say slow down and just keep aiming forwards here. Or if anything, if you want, I'd say like slow down and go sideways in either direction, right? Pick up this pad and go sideways. That way you're ready to kind of, you're positioned here, so he's not going to just drive it straight at you. Then if you're positioned in one of these directions, you can actually go left or right and then cover the other one really easily, right? See how you can cover two positions really quickly? So again, that's just statistically better, just kind of breaking and kind of waiting the play for the play to develop. Then you can go after it again if he goes and brings this around. Whereas now, since you've preemptively gone on the wall, now if you want to catch up to it, it's like a mile away. Same thing as we saw on the other side. I think it's kind of the same scenario, to be honest with you. The play is not developing like this way towards your net yet, so I think you can afford to shadow the play more. Since the play is developing more to the sidewall, you can also shadow the play and go more sidewall, especially because you have 40 boost and he's not immediately going to get like a power shot. If he was setting up like a bounce dribble and stuff like that, then, you know, this would be a little bit more threatening. But like, I mean, dude, he's literally almost to his net, right? There's not a whole lot of distance here between him and his net. So like, as the play goes to the side, you can still afford to go to the side here. Sorry, you had a question?
Yeah, so I'm just saying that seems like a lot of this is like, you know, the same mistake, like a lot. Like, what is the good way to like? Because I feel that comes down to like decision making.
Yep.
Like, how do you, I guess, like keep working towards making these decisions like during the game, and being able to identify them quick enough to make the correct decision?
Okay, so I will answer that, and then I'm gonna go back to the what I'm just gonna kind of summarize it. So as far as decision making goes, it's actually not as complicated as you think. Again, you're in your head, you're dropping back expecting the play to develop more quickly this way, right? So that's one thing, is just not letting your head get to you and like, okay, hey, he's not actually as good as you think he is, right? Like, you don't need to be that. He's not like squishy. He's not magically just gonna like boom this to your net, right? It's only 1-to-1. It's not like he's been shitting on you this whole game where he's been pulling off double flip resets and all this shit, right? So he's not as scary as you think. So the first thing is like, okay, hey, like try to just relax a little bit. I think the one thing that helps me figure out decision making is not actually like the decision to either go or the decision to like drop back or to challenge, right? The decision actually comes from staying with the play and matching the play speed. That is the number one thing that has helped me personally, because that is really the decision that you're making here. Is you're like, oh shit, I need to go. I'm not, and you don't effectively don't match the play speed. So as this goes sideways, you're actually going backwards. That's already the decision that you didn't even think you made, right? That you unconsciously made. Sorry.
Right.
So then that causes you then to go, oh shit, do I need to go up and close the space? Do I need to fake challenge? Can I actually challenge, right? See, then you're fucked by not matching the play speed and giving yourself, because you're in a really good spot here. You have good distance. You have good boost management so far. He's going to the side. You know, it's 1-to-1. You're in a perfect spot, dude. This is fine. But
We going straight toward
by
the
you
wall,
not matching the play speed is already fucking yourself, right? So, and like I said, by you dropping back, then you question yourself. You're like, okay, can I challenge all that shit, right? That I just talked about. Then that's where you're like, oh shit. Well, then now you're effectively shooting yourself in the foot, and you're like, now you're giving yourself the opportunity to make a bad decision. Whereas, have you just matched the play speed, you wouldn't have been in that scenario.
Right.
Then it's
now
a lot
been
easier.
Going straight toward the wall instead of.
Then it's a lot easier, right? Yeah. Then you wait for a better opportunity to go for the ball, right? Then you wait for the play to develop, because then, okay, let's just talk about this in like hypotheticals for a second. So the play is going towards the wall. What are his options? Okay, 1, he can go up the wall, right? 2 is that, okay, he can kind of cut it back center, or he can kind of go down the line this way and bring it down to the corner, right? That's like 1, 2, 3. If you preemptively, or if you just keep matching the play speed, eventually he will choose one of those options. Then you don't have to worry about either of these options yet. If he goes up the wall, then that's all you have to worry about. Then your decision making is so much easier. It's, okay, do I have to go up, or can I wait for him to come to me, right? On the ground. Then that's decision 1 or decision 2. It's a 50-50. That's a much better chance than, okay, hey, can I challenge him? You know, do I, as I'm facing back, do I challenge him here? Can I go up on the wall? You know, can I turn and challenge mid? Do I have to fake challenge at any point among any of these? So that's like 6 different options that you have from this one position. Then if you just let the play go through, then you just have a 50-50 chance. So do you see where that, like, you're kind of, you're already making the decision, even though you don't know you're making the decision.
Making this just what I think is going to develop instead
now,
of
now you're hesitating. You're like, oh shit, can I go or can I not go? Do I have to go back? Is he going to flick it at any point? Then now you're like, oh shit.
I'm sure at that point, this distance seems like a lot to me, so I probably tried to like close the distance.
Exactly. So it's a lot harder for you to make that decision than it is to just know when to go. Okay, do I go now or do I wait? Then that's a much easier decision. Again, I think you're maybe a little too far, but I don't mind this. He's accelerating the play. So yeah, I'll say honestly, this is that's probably the biggest thing, number one thing. So, okay, you don't have a lot of boost. Okay, you got boost. Honestly, I would break here, because he hasn't progressed the play forward. This is my thinking now, is if I was in your position. So he hasn't progressed the play yet. I would break here. That way we keep this distance. And now as he starts to bring it forwards, okay, does he bring it in the air right away? That's option 1. Okay, is he going to bring it on his car and bring it forward? Okay, that's option 2. Is he literally going to bring it up the wall?
Probably the most likely, right?
Right, yeah, right. One of these 2 is probably most likely, or number 2 is probably most likely.
Yeah.
You know, is he going to dribble it or manipulate it up the wall or midfield, right? Or like dribble like across the field, right? Use more space. Like there's so many other options here. But at this point, I don't know. So I'm just going to keep my space. I'm not going to let him have more space. So I'm going to break here. That's number 1. Then if he goes up, it's like, okay, well, then I keep shadowing. Then all you have to worry about is, okay, can I go in the air, or can I wait for it to like drop down? And again, that's a much easier decision. And that's exactly what you did here. You match the play speed as it's going back. Then you wait for him to challenge, and then you can hit it across.
Right.
So that's all it really boils down to, honestly, is, yeah, if you match the play speed, you're really helping yourself out a lot more than you think. Okay, so again, very nitpicky thing here, but as far as mechanics, I think this is something you still need to step up on, because your air roll here has not been good. So you're sideways off the wall, and this is the same thing that happened with that aerial down in midfield where you totally missed it. This is a similar scenario where you jump off. You should actually be tilting your car back, so the nose of your car should be kind of going this way. That way you're aiming at the ball, right? Then you should be air rolling to the left, so that way your car is like square, like this, right? Aiming towards the ball. If anything, you should be almost air rolling such that your left tire actually aims towards the middle of the ball. And again, I will talk about this at the end, so don't worry about that.
Yeah.
But then you should be able to get a really powerful touch mid, and you could basically shoot this on net. And
Which is probably what I was trying to do.
Yep.
And failed.
But because you don't air roll, similar to the aerial before, it's very stiff. See how you just front flip and you're not matching the height of the ball, so you're just hitting this into the ceiling. So I think that's something that we could definitely work on as far as mechanics go. All right. I'll probably go over like the positioning and stuff like that. I'm gonna kind of go a little bit faster through this. Actually, before I continue, do you have any questions or anything? Since we're a little over halfway.
No, you're explaining it well. I understand. I follow.
Okay, perfect. I know I tend to talk a lot, so just feel free to stop me at any point. Okay. Again, you're not respecting the fact that he's not actually bringing this to the corner. He's actually bringing this mid now, so you actually literally have to turn back, and that's your first priority.
Yeah.
The second thing is, yeah, you're going wide again, and you're not respecting the fact that he's accelerating to play this way. So again, yeah, it's just
nice to see that I make the same mistake.
Literally the second or third time in that same corner, like 3 times or 4 times now this game. I know the corners feel nice and cozy a lot of the time, but I think you're sticking there a little too much.
I would agree.
Okay, again, this is another scenario where I'll talk about the shooting again, but in my opinion, you should be using the front right wheel, right corner, hitting the left side of the ball here. Again, this is part of the turning around and aiming at the ball before you shoot, because 90% of the shooting is actually done before like you take the shot. It's all about the position and how fast you're going at the ball, how much you're aiming, right? Because then the last part of it, the last 5 to 10% is just hitting the ball.
Right.
So, whereas now, since you're not even aiming at the ball, dude, you're aiming this way, right? So if you turn more to the left, such that your car is aiming this way, then you use your front right tire and you kind of aim so your left wheel is kind of down a little bit. That way you're aiming with your car, with your corner of your car. That way you can kind of shoot this way. Again, this should be a shot on net.
Now, is that a mistake that a lot of people make at lower ranks? Just not.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Even
I say lower ranks. I mean, this is champ.
So
still, we still suck.
In my head, lower ranks are champ 2 and below.
Gotcha.
And I say that definitively because I feel that is the rank that I can carry up to, like 1v2s, 1v3s, that kind of thing. That's the rank where I kind of.
You're talking about in ones, because I am
no,
that high
I literally
stuff,
mean no, I mean me. I say that definitively because I consider low rank a champ 2 or below, because that is the rank that I can carry my friends in ranked, like 1v1s, 2v2s, 3v3s, pretty easily.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So that's just me personally.
Understand.
Ooh, again, all right, one last thing about this challenge, and then I can keep going, is, again, the height. Notice how as you jump, you're keeping yourself flat-footed on the ground. You're not using the height of your car to get up to it. It's the same thing.
I need to be tilting back.
Yep. See how as you jump through this, your car is flat?
Yep.
Yep.
So I need to jump earlier and tilt back?
Yep.
So when you're doing that, how do they not... I guess my expectation, if I jumped earlier and tilted back, that they would just drop it off their car and just I guess fake you at that point.
Yep, we can talk about that.
Now is that just me thinking that they can do something that they're not going to have time to do?
Most likely. The idea in that scenario is that you use the height of your car to cover this percentage, where you single jump and turn up first. Then you continue to boost if you think that they're going to get it a flick over you, right? If they're committing to it.
Right.
So that first initial jump is using this height to cover this baseline of half the goal roughly. Then you keep going up to like the top 90, 100% of the goal, right? To get if he's going to flick it. So yeah. I think, again, just going to say real quick, this is a scenario where you're not respecting. Obviously, he's beating you to this boost, and he hasn't even gotten to the ball yet. So you don't know, again, if he's going to take it up, if he's going to go up this way.
You don't know what he's going to do. He has lots of options.
Yeah. So You're just driving into the corner. You're really cozy in this corner.
So I chose one of the options.
Yep.
Instead of
Yep.
waiting for it
Whereas
to
you just
develop.
could have waited on that boost, or even just turn around again, then wait for him to come to you. Yep.
So I'd be challenging closer to like, I guess my front post instead of.
Yeah. Honestly,
Yeah.
ideally, you'd be challenging like right now.
Yeah.
Like if you were back. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Before he even gets to it.
Right.
But yes. Sorry, I know you're probably getting sick of me talking about the same thing over and over, but I find it important because you've been doing the same mistake over and over. So
right. Just all these.
If I only saw it once, I would only mention it once. Like,
I don't know if that should be like, is that a good or a bad thing? I'm curious. Like,
honestly,
if you're making the same mistake instead of multiple different mistakes.
Yeah,
like,
I agree. Actually,
less to
like
fix, kind of. I don't know.
I agree. Actually, I see what you're saying. That's why I like to compliment people. Believe it or not, when you do something good, that's why I mentioned like the single jump challenges. I think that's something you're doing really well, like exceptionally well here.
So like, I think I've gotten better at 50-50s, but like sometimes like especially recognizing, hey, I should go for a low 50 here. Like I feel like I recognize it too late.
Oh, on this challenge, you mean right here?
Oh, just in general. Like sometimes I might not see it until it's too late. Like, oh, he's challenging me. We have a low 50. And by the time I recognize that it's happening, he's already above me. So I'm hitting the ball lower than he is, and he wins.
Right.
So.
Yep. Honestly, I'm surprised he went low in that challenge. He kind of jumped before you. He could have just jumped. He could have popped that over you easily on that one. But again, I'm just gonna point it out. No, I'll keep going. Again, you kind of go mid here, and then you kind of like are circling back, and you kind of snake, and you're waiting for him to go. Whereas he hasn't really gone this way yet. So again, just progressing the play in your head where he hasn't even gone that way. See, now you're kind of correcting back, and now you got to correct again. Now you're going again. You're like, shit, manage space. I got 0 boost. You're awkward as shit.
So do you think that stems from like when you were lower ranks and like just getting?
You have to just keep driving. Yeah, it's the idea that okay, I gotta always be going fast. Gotta always
it's
be
not
driving.
that. I don't think it's necessarily that. It's just I remember at lower ranks for myself. Like it always seemed like if I didn't like try to predict what was going to happen, that they would just score on me because like you didn't think about what was happening. Now I'm getting to the point where I'm probably in position better, but I'm still trying to predict, and
it's less
now
about
I'm putting
the
myself in worse position.
Yeah, exactly. It's less about the prediction than it is just reacting to what he's doing.
Right.
Because like it is higher ranked. There is going to be a certain couple move sets that is probably going to happen, right? That have defined that he has practiced over time in games, just like you have, right? There's only so many things that he's going to be able to do. So out of those things, you just got to wait and see, and then just okay, obviously he's not going to bring this up the wall now, so don't go near the wall. Like just now, you got a couple options. Is he going to flick it? Is he going to go over you? Is he going to fake you? Right, those 3.
I gotcha.
The
only other. Oh, sorry.
One last thing about this before I go is again, you can actually see the difference between you going midfield like this, how it's super awkward. So now even when you jump, your best case scenario, you save this above the net. Whereas had you picked this boost and gone wide and done like a little turn, go more forwards, you can more likely hit the ball out sideways, which is much safer. So this is a direct example, I just wanted to point it out, of you going down middle of the field. And sometimes this has to happen, right, where you don't have the time to go wide. So in this case scenario, you're already positioned this way, so you have to just jump at this point and hit it high, hit it wide. So nice job on that. But I just wanted to point out just to notice how much more awkward that is compared to what I said earlier. I guess just slightly too. He's pretty far away. Last comment before we end this is replay is again, he is not progressing the play. He's not air dribbling this towards you yet. So like you can actually afford to slow down here, believe it or not, just a little bit. As long as you continue facing back towards the net and are ready to accelerate up, like say he gets a jump reset flick and keeps the height towards your net, then you're still facing the net, right? That's your first priority. But the second he gets a jump reset here and he has like distance away from the ball, then that's when you can challenge. So I think you're going a little too fast. See how you're going like
I'm a little ahead of the ball now.
You're going this way as the play is going like this.
Yeah.
So you're kind of a little awkward. The play's coming straight at you this way, perpendicular, which is awkward. So one last thing. Yep, that's all. Okay. Any questions or anything about the replay or anything I say not make sense?
No, it all made sense. I got it.
All right. Then we get now into the fun part, is the corrections and like what I think you could do to improve. So very simple actually. The main thing was that in Bacchus mod, you know, if you press up on your stick, you can spawn the ball on your car.
Right.
But my favorite one to use is actually pressing down on the stick. That way, I practice this as like, you know, you have like the GC warm-up, you know, routine and stuff like that. But this is actually what I do as like my pre-warm-up every day. Like this is my training before the training. Is
that's probably the one I use the least.
Yep. And this is the difference between like champ level shooting and grand champ level shooting. Is like being able to use your corner of your car effectively and aim really towards the net. So in this scenario, again, first part of this is jumping, meeting the front of my car with like the middle of the ball, right? Such that I keep my height and I'm driving my car as much as I can through the ball. That's number one. Obviously, if the ball is lower to the ground, you have to go on the lower side of it, right? So the first part is just matching the ball height. The second part is always trying to air roll a little bit and using the corner, again, using that as a guide. So you almost aim like this, basically. And you'll see me do that here. So I'm coming at this pretty straight. Then I air roll just slightly, and I use that corner flip. And again, that's almost a 70-mile-an-hour shot to the left side. That's pretty good. So, like, again, something like that even, not very good because it's kind of bouncing. So more often than not, what I see happen is people kind of go on, they kind of jump too high, and they kind of kill the ball, right? Or they hit it towards the ground. The other one is obviously if you go too high, then it's like, okay, yeah, that's a backboard shot, but or a backboard like rebound or pass or whatever, but it's not an effective shot. So using this is actually, whoa, that's pretty high up there. But you see how much correction I have to do? That surprised the hell out of me, actually.
Right.
I'm like, oh shit, I actually have to turn back more and hit it with like the top of my car to actually hit it properly. So honestly, this is just one thing that I actually use all the time, just as like a warm-up before anything else.
Do you always do that on like the start of the play?
Yep.
Like
Start of the game. Anytime I open up the game.
Well, no, I just didn't know if you kept hitting that down button while you're like driving around on the field.
Yep. Yeah. So it just depends on where you want to set it up. So you can actually go on the wall as well. That's where the aerial play comes into effect, right? The wall play, like I said, with your air roll as well. So you can actually like roll this and then say I'm getting a pass from my teammate. It's like, okay, that one's a little awkward. But yeah, you can actually go up the wall and then press down and simulate like, you know, a pass from your teammates or whatever, right? So that's where like your effective like jumping off the wall, tilting back and air rolling. See, now that's the difference from what I said earlier about you jumping, tilting your car back and then air rolling. Now look at my left tire is in line with the goal. So that's actually how you shoot like rebounds effectively. Jump, tilt back, then I use my corner and that's a goal. But yeah, that's how you do rebounds as well.
Gotcha.
Is like this aerial control. So not only does that kind of air roll, like using the down on your stick, effective for that kind of shooting, it also helps you air roll shot for like, you know, wall shots and stuff as well. Then you can also use it for defense. So I like to accompany this one because if you're in the net like this and I press down, it's basically not going to be very high. So what I like to do is I like to press left and then down because now it'll shoot it like, if I press left, it'll shoot it above the net as like a rebound. So I like to press left and then down. Then it's a lot higher, right? So that is where you get powerful clears from. And that's where you can really match the ball speed to make sure I hit it like to the corner or whatever. Honestly, since I'm recording and streaming and all this shit at once, my controls are a little laggy, but I think you get the idea. That you can use this Bacchus mod shit to like really shoot the ball at you and use your air roll shot. Like that would be a shot I would take in a match or like in our in-house games or whatever. Like that I consider to be a pretty decent shot. So, you know, it's all about just how hard you want to make it, right? About how effective you want to use this training method. So, but that's honestly personally like what I like to do a lot of the time. And I actually use this a lot more than I do Coco's training because I find it a little bit more, how do I put this, like translatable, obviously, between games and training.
Or realistic.
Yeah, it's a little more realistic. Yeah, obviously you're shooting at a net, so you have better depth perception, all that kind of shit, right?
Right.
So
makes sense.
Yeah, you can accompany this with like, if you don't want to use unlimited boost, you can check.
Yeah, you can undo it. Yeah,
all that kind of shit, right? So.
Understand. Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably honestly like my number one mechanics thing for you is like that air roll shooting, because I found a lot of the time that like when you're going up for the ball, you just tend to front flip into it, and it's not very, it's not very fluid in my opinion. It looks very stiff because you're going left and right, then you jump and you're turning like this. It's like, okay, it's not very efficient. It's not very, not very like pro-like, I should say. It's very, it's very stiff.
So you're basically, like the first part of your aim starts with like just like where you're aiming before you even jump, and then you're just like power shotting.
Right. Correct. Yeah. A lot of it is just aiming at the ball firsthand.
And what I was doing is, whatever position I was in, jumping.
You're
then I had to correct my car, and then I'm trying to correct air roll, and then just getting a weaker shot.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Do you have any questions about this training or anything like that, or is?
No, that training makes sense. So the other thing that I felt like I struggle with is I guess it's like generating pressure, especially in ones, right? Like to where you can set up, like I've definitely gotten more competent at like flicking and stuff like that.
Sure.
But
okay,
a lot of times I don't find the ability to get enough space to effectively do it.
Right. Okay, so that's where like I didn't see you dribbling the ball like this very often in that game.
Yeah.
You didn't really have a whole lot of like time. Obviously that guy was pretty fast. He was pretty mechanical, so he's not just going to let you like pick up the ball. But in these opportunities where the ball is on the side of your car, you just have to like be able to pick it up. Like, dude, I only use like 15 boosts to like get that massive flick there. But like you have to kind of take these opportunities and just kind of shoot on net sometimes. And honestly, what that comes down to is just being able to kind of pick up the ball from anywhere, and just being able to just kind of just shoot a ball, right? And just being able to pull down pressure like and at all, right? So like if you're not putting the ball on your car and you're not flicking, that's like a really bad thing in my opinion, because like that's one of the best like forms of pressure there are, right? Because the guy can't really challenge you very easily if you're coming at him like this, because then at worst all you got to do is just double jump, and then that's a freaking top shelf shot right over the guy. So I didn't see you get the ball in your car very often, and you'll see like in the 1v1 masterclass that Randy talks about is trying not to dribble at the guy.
Yeah, that's so like it's hard for me. And then like even when I do it, what chances are like I'm not going to be able to, like I can dribble away from him, but then I'm like, how do I get a flick on target? Like it's
sure. Okay, so let me talk about like dribbling for a second. So I'm gonna kind of, no offense, I'm gonna kind of treat you like a bronze. I'm just gonna do my little spiel, and I'll work my way up, I promise. So the first part is obviously like getting the ball in your car. So a lot of people, like if you're starting from nothing, you just get the ball rolling on the ground, turn off ball cam, and just drive ahead of it, and then all you got to do is just focus on just popping it up on your car and just trying to see how long you can go like in a straight line, right? So that's the first part. Then basically if you want to gamify this a little bit, you can try to see if you can do like a lap down the field, score on the net, right? So if you get the ball rolling to the orange net, then then you're basically straight. Okay, can you get it all the way down the field without boosting? That kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, no, I feel like I can. Like I know I've held it like on my card like for pretty much indefinitely.
Sure. So honestly, you can also use the right on your D-pad to roll the ball to you. That's also effective. A little more quicker that way. That way all you got to do is just basically roll it and pick it up. So then after that, honestly, then a little bit more of an advanced thing would be to get the ball in your car from a roll, right? So that's obviously, again, matching the ball speed here. And if the ball is going this slow, your car literally has to go this slow. Then all you got to do is just focus on cutting it left or right. And honestly, I'd prefer it if you actually cut right too far, because then you actually can turn back around the other way as long as you match your car speed, because then you can start to do these little no bounce or no boost like bounce dribbles, right? And that looks really dangerous. And that's really controlled from me, but that really starts from just being able to pick the ball up on the ground and just being able to roll it one direction, because then you can kind of go back and forth with that, right? But that all starts
Yeah.
from being able to just pick it
That's
up.
like the hot potato drill, isn't it?
Yeah, basically. The other part of this that I like to tell people too that you don't really hear often is being able to just dribble it in circles on your car, because then that gets you really comfortable with pushing it like left and right, being able to do figure eights, that kind of stuff. So I've actually prescribed a couple platinums that are trying to dribble, trying to do figure eights like this, and I'll have them send me clips trying to do this, because then we're going to add on to that. So now that we learned to carry the ball in our car and we've learned to like pick the ball up and now turn with it, then we can compound all of our movements and add a barrel roll into it. So we add a side flip flick. So if the ball is coming this way, I can actually get on the side of it. I get it on top of my car, and as I go through it, I keep my motion going to the side, and then I just add a flip into it. So I go left and just flip left. And what this does, it's multiple things. So now not only is the ball not even going on the net, so I'm less likely to get challenged here because I'm not an immediate threat. But now if he challenges, I can side flip flick through that, and now it's on target.